I won my husband back by acting like the girl he was cheating on me with, but once he cut her off I served him divorce papers and fled with our newborn. I found out that my husband was having an affair shortly after I gave birth. I knew that our marriage was over, but my curiosity got the best of me and I wanted to know why. What was it she had that I didn't? Did he love her? I started reading his texts and everything was there. He sounded like he felt like he was alive again, as if he was reborn and he was fully happy and excited. His affair partner is single and childless, so she had all the time in the world to make him her priority, and from what I read he definitely felt seen and desired by her. I was confused because even with life coming between us he was always my love, and I made sure he knew that every day, but still somehow that wasn't enough for him. I read thousands upon thousands of messages between them and I started becoming everything he fantasized about to win him over. In the beginning it felt weird and he was confused, but I just went on with it. Every time he made plans with her I found a way to make him stay, or I made sure that I sent him exhausted to her. The messages became less and less frequent and the passion and excitement between them subsided. Soon answering her became more of a chore, and then the complaining between them started and he started pulling away from her. He was happier at home and he couldn't wait to come home to me. He started texting me again during the day with the sweetest texts of how he missed me. One day what I hoped and waited patiently for had finally happened. He ended things with her. He told her that he loved me and that now everything was great again, so her services weren't needed, in other words. I felt relieved, and so now I could finally move on. Now I am preparing for my divorce. He will get the papers the day I leave for my new life in my new apartment. I know I will get a lot of hate for this because I have neglected my husband and pushed him to seek solace in another woman's arms, when I apparently could give him what he sought all along, and believe me, I will bear the guilt for the rest of my life. But in my defense, I didn't do it intentionally. Our lives had just been altered drastically and I was trying to navigate this new and exciting existence. I was immersed in this new kind of happiness that I thought I was sharing with him. And I was trying to get to know my new body that I couldn't recognize anymore, which was a really scary feeling. But he could have come to me with his hurt and he could have talked to me about his suffering. He could have tried to make me understand, but he chose not to, and he decided to deceive me. He ruined our love, our future, and even our history. Nothing is or will ever be the same again. Update. I did exactly as I planned and I moved out after I left my husband divorce papers. I told him that I wasn't in love with him anymore and that I think we are better off as co-parents than as a couple. I told him that I have found a new place and he could buy me out of our current home or sell the property once the divorce is finalized. He was in a total shock, but probably not the same shock I was in when I found out that he was cheating on me. He literally asked if I hit my head and even told people that he was worried that I had a brain tumor. He was very angry in the beginning and wanted answers. No answer was good enough for him. Is there someone else? No, dear husband, there isn't someone else, but there isn't you either. The audacity of that man. I reminded him that we still had our son and to think about him before acting vindictive. I still miss him, but at the same time I feel like I could finally breathe. Our families are very sad and mostly shocked, but honestly they have been very understanding. My ex-in-laws are still very active in my son's life, but they've started to become a bit cold towards me when about 2 weeks ago, my mother-in-law in a passive-aggressive tone told me that my husband has started seeing someone. She apologized immediately and said that she just wanted me to know and be prepared that he had someone new, and yet I couldn't help but hear some vindication in her voice. I looked at her and said, "Do you mean Karen?" Newsflash, Karen is the affair partner. She looked shocked and asked me how I knew her and if he talked to me about it. I let her know she isn't new and I told her that he has been sleeping with her since I just had given birth, and maybe even before that. I kept my voice very quiet and monotone like we were discussing the weather. I was already regretting telling her, but the news that he started seeing Karen again made my heart hurt, even though I'm not surprised. My mother-in-law apologized and swore she had no idea, even though she has no control over what her grown son did or does, so it's not her fault. My ex-husband is on a confusing bender of apologizing to me and confessing his love after he heard what happened with his mom and I. He writes that he loves me every night before bed. I hope this doesn't mean that he would make the divorce drag out, because then I have failed my plan, but he seems to be less forgiving of the divorce when he knew that he was the reason for it than when he thought it was mine.